Everyone loves surprising and interesting fun facts that make them question the world around them. But you know what everyone loves even more than a fun fact? A fun fact so surprising and interesting that it makes them stop dead in their tracks to say, "No way. Really?" So come, let us see. Number 1. Superman didn't always fly. The original comic book Superman could leap tall buildings in a single bound. But then he had to come right back down to Earth because he didn't fly. It wasn't until the 1940s, when animators for a new animated series decided it would be too difficult to routinely draw him bending his knees, that it was decided that Superman could take off into the air. Readers got to see smooth animation, and the superhero gained a new power. Number 2. The first computer was invented in the 1940s. These days, supercomputers are everywhere and they really don't need much space at all. Have an Xbox One posted up in your living room? That's a supercomputer. A laptop tablet hybrid in your bag? That's a supercomputer, too. Don't even get us started on the thing in your pocket. But when supercomputers first came around, they needed much more space. Just take a look at the world's first one, the Electronic Numerical Integrator and Computer, ENIAC. Number 3. Space smells like seared steak. When you see footage of astronauts floating peacefully in space, do you ever wonder, what do space smells like? Well, according to some former astronauts, space does have a distinct odor that hangs around post-spacewalk. They've described it as hot metal or searing steak. Number 4. The longest wedding veil was the same length as 63.5 football fields. When Maria Paraskeva, a woman from Cyprus, got married in August 2018, her goal wasn't just to say "I do." She was also determined to set a record. "My dream as a child has always been to break the Guinness World Record title for the longest wedding veil," she explained. She fulfilled her dream by wearing a lace veil that stretched 22,843 feet and 2.11 inches, or as long as 63.5 football fields. Number 5. The unicorn is the national animal of Scotland. While Scotland proudly boasts the Loch Ness Monster, one of the world's most famous fabled creatures, the country opted to make another mythical beast its national animal, the unicorn. Although this might seem like an odd choice, Visit Scotland explains that unicorns played an integral role in the country's history. Back in the 12th century, William I used the proud beast in the Scottish royal coat of arms. Number 6. The total weight of ants on Earth once equaled the total weight of people. Entomologists have estimated that there are at least 1 million trillion insects. And only 1% of that number is ants, according to the BBC. And if you took all those ants, about 10,000 trillion, and put them on one side of a giant scale, you could almost put all of the people in the world onto the other and balance things out. Unfortunately, as humans have become heavier, this probably wouldn't hold up today, but it once did. Francis Meeks, professor of apiculture at the University of Sussex, told the BBC this might have held true around 2,000 years ago. Number 7. E is the most common letter and appears in 11% of all English words. Try writing out a few sentences, anything at all. Now take a minute to look at how frequently each letter in the alphabet appears. Chances are you'll see a lot of the letter E. That's because the commonly used vowel appears in around 11% of all words in the English language, according to Oxford dictionaries. The next most popular letter was A, which appears in around 8.5% of all words. The least common letter is Q, which appears in just 0.2% of words. Number 8. A dozen bodies were once found in Benjamin Franklin's basement. But were you aware of the fact that multiple skeletons were found in the basement of Benjamin Franklin's London home? The bones were discovered during a 1998 renovation of the house and were identified as being from nearly a dozen people, including 6 children. The most plausible explanation is not mass murder, but an anatomy school run by Benjamin Franklin's young friend and protege, William Hewson, wrote The Guardian. That's not to say there wasn't any funny business going on. The resurrection men could deliver bodies stolen from graveyards to the Thames wharf at the bottom of the street, while there was a weekly public execution at the gallows on the other side of the garden wall. Number 9. A pharaoh once lathered his slaves in honey to keep bugs away from him. The pharaohs of ancient Egypt were believed to be literally divine. The word pharaoh itself means great house, as in the house of God. In fact, King Pepi II, who supposedly ruled for 90 years, thought so highly of himself that when he was bothered by insects, he would command that one of his slaves be covered in honey to lure the flies away from himself. Number 10. Pringles aren't actually potato chips. The next time you see a can of Pringles, take a closer look. You won't see the word chip anywhere on the packaging. That's because Pringles aren't made of thinly sliced potatoes, but instead dehydrated potato flakes pressed into their signature parabolic shape. That's what makes them less greasy. But when other potato chip manufacturers complained, the Food and Drug Administration ruled that Pringles couldn't be marketed as chips. The company eventually settled on potato crisp. Some of the facts maybe you're not aware of the most.